Here we see him, but we
Back.
have a guest.
We
So
do a very special guest. It's a very good friend of mine. Um, and he is the horror expert. Like I'm gonna give him the biggest shout out because if I don't know something about horror, which I am not even close to as knowledgeable as this guy, but he is the guy. And with the case that we talked about tonight, I wanted to bring him on and kind of put him in the hot seat just a little bit. So unfortunately, he can't be on camera because there are some things, but that's cool. So we're gonna go on and bring him on, Mr. William Douglas.
Hey, hey,
Hey, darling, how are you?
I'm good. I'm good. And I mean, I don't know what you guys discussed, so I'm going in blind here. So I'll
I
do the
know
heavy.
that's what's so
let
fun.
me let me give him a quick synopsis. Okay, so
Yeah.
basically, we covered the case of Mark Branch, and he was a obsessed super fan of Friday the 13th.
Okay.
He wanted to be Jason Voorhees. He wanted to enact the whole, crime scene out himself, and he did. He
Okay.
did. He murdered someone. So I
Dressed
guess
as Jason.
one of our first questions Nikki and I had chatted about earlier was like the difference between mental health, like where's the line drawn? Like you're a super fan,
Right.
you know, you don't have those thoughts. So clearly this person must have been mentally ill, or do you believe movies like this push people to do those types of crimes?
Well, I think if you see the word kill spelled out in your SpaghettiOs, that could push you over their edge if you're not right mentally. I don't think the movie's going to do it. I mean, to me, the movie just makes me want to learn more about the artistry and the production of the movie. And for
Mhm.
example, where is the spear that Jason used in part three, the spear gun? Or so I'm thinking about that, like the production
Right.
and the making of the movies. I'm not thinking about, maybe I should go dress like Jason and kill someone. Because
Right.
I've been a fan of the Friday the 13th films since I would say the early mid 80s, like since the video store revolution hit, um,
Mhm.
and renting all those tapes throughout my childhood. And I just wanted to like learn more about the making of the movie, where the props are. And oh, I would love to meet the actors that played Jason,
Right.
which I did.
I was gonna say,
But
which you have.
which I have, and I'm thankful. Um, so I think if you're already got something going on mentally, anything can inspire you to commit murder. So I mean, at what point does society say, well, we can't have X, Y, and Z because it could make somebody want to murder? You know what I mean?
Right.
Well, and that's the thing that like you remember obviously you grew up in the you saw the height of the satanic panic.
Oh yeah, I
Like
was front
you
row and center.
saw all of the you experienced and saw and lived through the satanic panic.
I
You
was
know.
I did
there.
as
Yeah,
well. Yeah.
I got accused of being a Satanist because
Oh
I
my god.
love horror movies and heavy metal. Because I went to, I've always grown up in the country, so I had like, I mean, some of these people, these small town, small mind mentalities. They saw that I had like, Motley Crue logo on my book cover on my English book, and then I had a Fangoria magazine tucked away. Well, he must be the devil because he doesn't play the football and go deer hunting like everyone else.
Right.
So yeah, I know all about the satanic panic for
So
reals.
like you of
Yeah, for
course
real.
and I think let's see one of your shirts that I know that you have is like your Kiss shirt and
Oh
it's
yeah,
your and so like you honestly like it's kind of a joke and we laugh about it but
yeah.
you remember all of the crazy like it was like knights in Satan service, kings in
Oh
Satan
yeah,
service.
yeah.
And so
It's
like
so
this is
funny.
in 1988 and like these people were fucking insane back
Okay,
then.
back then it was hot. Yeah, they were accusing everything was the devil.
Mm,
And that being said too, Freddie Mania and Friday the 13th was at an all time height too. Everybody was waiting on the next movie to come out because I was there going to see that shit in the theater. So you had like both sides of the thing going on there. You had the people that loved it and the people that hated it, and it's the same ones that hated the EC comics. You
Yeah.
can't have monsters coming out of the ground in your comic books.
mm.
It's the same people. If it's not, if you don't conform to their little standards, you're of the devil, and
Oh
that's
yeah, like I'm gonna be honest. One of my favorite pictures of William Douglas is him in Hobby Lobby. wearing his Kiss shirt. Like he so sticks out like a sore thumb in Hobby Lobby, and I loved it. It was great.
Yeah,
But
yeah,
like,
it's that Knights in Satan's Service shirt
yes,
at Hobby
yes.
Lobby with totally tattooed out.
Oh
And
yeah,
and the funny thing, the same people that would look down their nose at that are the same ones that want to come shake my hand when I'm at work and say thank you for your service.
Oh,
absolutely.
wow, that's
Absolutely.
awesome.
And that's why whenever I wanted to bring you on, you were like the person that I was like, I so wanted for this because you are the horror guy. There is not a single fact that you can't get out of this man. And to do what you do and be in your career as long as you have,
Yeah.
clearly it proves that obviously horror movies didn't make you go fucking postal and hack up
No.
your neighbor.
No,
Yeah.
no, it just makes me want to collect more memorabilia and get more
Wait,
tattoos.
that we know of, Nikki. No,
That's right. Consider yourself lucky.
I mean, the only thing I can say is like going to William Douglas's house is like going to the coolest museum in the fucking world.
I want to
Oh,
go someday. I'm a
Like
huge
he should
horror
charge
fan.
for tours. I'm
Yeah.
not even
Well,
kidding.
One day, whenever I find out where I'm going to live when I grow up, and I'll get all of my stuff out of climate control storage, and it'll be amazing. Once
It will be
again.
fucking awesome. And like,
Yeah.
so that's the thing though, is like when we were talking about this and like the fact this guy dressed up, like he went to the extreme to dress up like Jason, wear the mask, chase this, like kick this woman's door in, chase her up the stairs and just completely mutilate this woman. And it's all like the town, of course, obviously in the 80s, they're like, he watched gory movies, and every time he rented a movie, he wanted the goriest
Mhm.
movie he could find, and he just obsessed himself, which he did. He had a shrine to,
Right.
Jason, but also I know a guy that collects a lot of those masks.
I collect things like that from horror movies as well.
Exactly.
But,
So
and I guess in some ways, I could have, I guess, a shrine of certain things, and
Right.
but again, definite mental illness in this case versus typical super fans. So
Right,
exactly.
right. I mean, yeah. I mean, you have to have something else going on. There's no subliminal messaging going on that's going to be beamed down from a mothership of Satan telling us to go murder if we watch that movie.
yeah.
No, that's what happens if you play your AC/DC records backwards.
Well, I think it's
Exactly.
just really called schizophrenia. really.
Thank you.
But
and I get to deal with a lot of the mental illness thing because of my profession.
Mhm. Can we just
have-
say what your profession? Can we just?
Yeah, you can just
you're-
not where it is.
So we're just saying that our guest here tonight is in law enforcement, and I do understand your plight because myself, as Nikki knows, my past can't really put that out there,
Yeah.
So understand, but okay.
If
so
I wasn't in uniform right now, I would totally be on
I get
camera.
it. But we got our other co-host, Elaine. She said, in your opinion, Will, what is the best horror movie of all
I
time?
think I can answer that one.
Okay, I can tell you and that's a subjective question. My favorite and best ever is going to be The Fog.
Okay, good one. Yeah.
Now, that's not for everybody. Some people want torture porn and they want to watch Saw. That ain't me.
Torture
I want
porn?
to watch. I want to watch something like a creepy, slow burn, atmospheric horror film with a great soundtrack.
Mhm.
Sorry, there's audio coming across this office right now.
I love
You're
it.
okay.
I can't control that. That's just
Oh no,
something
you're
that-
good. I love it. Totally
But,
love it.
yeah.
It adds to the
Yeah.
character. But you
Yeah,
know what
yeah.
though? Like with you, for instance, obviously, so you and I have been friends for quite a while, and
Yeah.
I have seen quite the collection of, let's just say, your Jason collection. You have got one of the most insane Friday the 13th collections. Okay.
There's some that outdo me for sure, but considering, I got some good stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, you have got quite a collection, but never once have I been like, oh damn, he is definitely fixing to hack me up.
No.
Like I've never, it's never crossed my mind,
Right.
Whereas
No,
like this,
no.
but this woman that he murdered is doing. I mean, she was like making a psychological profile, and somebody had to have told this guy.
That's
He
the other
already
thing.
had some screws loose,
It
and
kills me, like we talked about earlier. there was really no connection between his victim and himself. So if he learned about this, she wrote a psychological, just for Will's sake, she wrote a psychological profile about him for a college class. He
Okay.
finds out about it, gets pissed off, and kills her. But who told him?
I don't know. I've never heard of
That's-
this case, so I need
Yeah,
to.
it's
I
crazy.
need to
It's
listen
so
to it.
wild.
Yeah, I'm
It's
going to listen to the
so-
podcast on it for sure. I mean, I've heard of like this the murderers that were that they call them the Scream murderers, where they based the movie Scream off of.
Yes,
That's
I
awful,
found that
awful.
one. And I was
Yeah,
like, holy shit, that's
But-
insane.
So
to me.
Elaine's got another question for you here. Our co-host from afar, she's
Sure.
jumping in. What about the worst and why? I'm thinking horror movie. What about
Yeah.
the worst horror movie and why?
oh gosh, I don't. I mean, for me, the worst. As worst as in gory, or worst as in this is
Just
garbage.
your most non-favorite, like you don't even like
Okay.
it.
I'm not a fan of the Jordan Peele stuff, only because I like my horror movies to be escapism. I do understand there is social commentary and everything, but I don't want it to be so ham-fisted to hit me over the head and be like, "Well, this sucks. I could have just watched the news." So
Right,
I want my horror to like The Fog. I want it to be about some ghosts of some lepers that drowned at sea to come back and get their gold from the the church, or even if you think about the original Halloween and you get rid of all the sequels and it would have been just that one movie, it would have been
was-
almost kind of like a supernatural thing too, because you couldn't tell, is he just a crazy dude out of a mental home, or
Right.
is he got a little something else going on because he's disappearing and all that. And that was so I
Mhm.
like to have a little bit of some mystery and a little something extra to it. You know what I mean?
No, I totally agree.
Absolutely.
And
You know what though?
as I'm talking to you right now, I'm getting messages from my favorite Scream Queen at the same time. So this is so surreal at this all happening at once.
It's
Overwhelmed.
look the story, like I'm telling you, this guy right here is the most eclectic, eccentric person, and I love it so fucking much. It
I'm
just
a
makes my life. He brightens my fucking days. I'm not even kidding. I can
Well-
wake up and see that he has posted something, and I'm like, I know it's gonna be one of these days. It's gonna
Yeah.
like I don't know. It's just so like everybody knows. Anybody that knows Will knows that like Halloween is not. It's not a one day a year thing. It's his whole life, all day, every day.
Yes, a lifestyle. Yeah.
Absolutely, and this is the same in my house. My house is 24/7. I'm not as lucky as far as the collection. I'm so envious, and I love it, and it just makes my heart happy. But like seeing and knowing, honestly, you are probably one of the most compassionate people. Like you are a genuinely good human. Like you're a good
Right.
person, and
Yeah.
knowing that and looking at that on something that's like knowing that like the satanic panic, and you obviously remember all that and going like, oh, you're a Satanist because you don't fucking blend.
Right.
And then like going to look at like the other side of it where it's like this person obviously they're doing the blame the movie. It's kind of like blaming Marilyn Manson for kids
It's the
going
same
fucking
thing
insane.
with blaming Alice Cooper, because he was the first.
Yes.
They blamed
Yes, he
Alice
was the original
Cooper for all
shock
this
rock.
stuff.
I-
Yeah,
and
he was
like I think as humans, just we are wired that way to seek blame. We have to blame something. It can't possibly be that we're just terrified. And really that's what
Yeah.
satanic panic was all about. People were terrified of something
Right.
new. And so they had to find something to blame.
Yeah.
So-
Yeah, exactly. And it's funny. It's like I saw a meme recently. It's like it's funny whenever you see a list of all the top satanic bands and they're all your favorites.
It's so true though.
And then when it's like stupid stuff like Kiss, Motley Crue, and Wasp.
Black Sabbath and
Oh my
Wasp.
God! You're talking about like Gene Simmons never talked about Satan. He was talking about banging groupies.
That's all it
Yeah.
was the whole time, dude.
Yeah,
And
I
with a
know,
tongue
but-
like that, I don't blame him. Okay. I
Yeah.
don't blame this women.
This case that we did tonight was also, in my belief, sensationalized. And I'll show you what we showed on the show earlier, if this will pop up for us.
There
You
you go.
see the headlines of the news. Friday the 13th, slasher terrorizes town. Sensationalized across this small, town, this area. terrifying people.
They
So-
canceled Halloween for it, but what's crazy is to like terrorize this town. I'm not saying that what he did was right, wrong, or indifferent.
No,
Obviously, it was
no.
horrendous, but he didn't terrorize the fucking town. He wasn't killing like he didn't take out like whole of Camp Crystal Lake. I'm just saying he didn't take out all the camp
I
counselors.
think that their fear was what pushed them, motivated them to shut down Halloween, shut down the town. And I understand small town 1988. You kind of get it.
Oh, yeah.
But I also believe, and we still see that now to this day, sensationalizing, crimes or things, and or the Kardashians just saying
Oh my god!
we make them too big and too much.
Right.
Not a fan, sorry.
The Kardashians.
Yeah, thank
Yeah.
you. Thank you.
It's so funny
Right.
they use that picture of. I've seen that behind the scenes picture of Jason that they had there in the background. I was like, oh, I've seen that in Fangoria magazine back in the day.
Yeah.
Right,
Well,
and that's the whole idea, is that they printed this in the local newspaper during, like, almost immediately after they determined that it's Mark Branch. So then they know who the victim is. They put this terrible thing together with that picture, making it even more terrifying than it already is.
Of course,
So-
like now everybody's gonna walk outside and they're gonna think that like this guy's just gonna come out with a machete and take them out, like
Right.
walk into their car on a Tuesday.
And I'm pretty sure that the locals had a lot to do with canceling Halloween that year as well, because everybody was just panicked. Everybody's freaking out. Like, no, we can't let our kids go out. Yeah.
Yeah. What state was this?
1988, October
Massachusetts.
24th, 1988. I believe.
In Massachusetts.
Okay. Hey, hold on.
Greenfield, Massachusetts.
Yeah.
1 second. I've got my radio was going off. I was trying to make sure they weren't calling me. I'm sorry.
You're good, honey.
No worries. We are
Yeah,
sorry.
I was supposed to be off tonight, but hey, I like to travel to horror
Duty
movie
calls.
locations. I need money.
Yeah. So you know what though? I will say, like, in the knowledge of obviously like covering and talking about this case and being like, it was fucking wild from the start. Like this case was a
Right.
roller coaster when we started it, and I was like, holy fuck, it just kept going. It was like a rabbit hole that just didn't stop for a minute.
A lot of it is that, like we talked about earlier, I wrote about it years ago in a magazine, and then I really never looked back at it till we talked about doing it. Then she opens the can of worms of like research, and it just the spiral.
Yeah.
So-
I'm looking forward to listening to the whole podcast, honestly.
Oh, look, tune in. We'll love it. But you know what? Though? I have a question, and I really want. This is a law enforcement question because
I have
in
one
this
too,
one,
after.
they used a psychic.
You took my question. That was exactly what I was going to ask.
Were you gonna go with there? Go ahead. Go
No,
I'll give
you
it
go
to you.
ahead. Go ahead. Go
So,
ahead.
like, in your opinion, and of course, this guy's like well known. He's world renowned. He was all over Unsolved Mysteries. I was obsessed with Unsolved Mysteries when I was a kid. Like, whatever.
Yeah.
But they end up going and basically using a psychic medium profiler, John Monty, to assist them. And like he was very accurate on what he said. But like as
Like
a law enforcement versus being just like a fan of horror and movies and all the things that can be. What is your opinion of using like the psychic profiler to solve these cases?
Well, I've never seen it done in person or participated in it in any way or shape or form. But I guess, if you're running up against a brick wall and you're getting nothing and your department has the budget to afford one, why not just give it a try? Who knows?
Absolutely.
We can't explain everything that's going on in the world here and after. So let's just see. Why not? If you can afford it in your budget, which
And 9 times out of 10, and I speak from experience, which I cannot speak into the real world. Nikki knows why. She can fill you in later. But 9 times out of 10, even if you as a law enforcement agent can just simply get some piece of the puzzle from a psychic, it works. It works.
Right. Yeah.
So,
keep throwing things against the wall until it sticks. You may have something, Don't think just because you're wearing a badge, you know everything and everything is in the world. You never know. Keep an open mind. Maybe you'll see something you didn't see before.
Yeah. And like I
Okay.
think it's really cool. I thought this case was really fun, and it was, I don't know.
Yeah.
I just kind of like enjoyed it was not fun because it's a murder, but it was like fun
Right.
to
I get
do
what you're saying.
and
Yeah.
talk about the fact of like you take two different sides. Obviously, this guy turns out to be a serial killer. You love horror, you love heavy metal, you love all these things, and
Yeah.
like we've been to a ghost concert together.
Yeah.
There's been some like stories here, and never have I been like, I think that guy's gonna be the next fucking like Ted Bundy. You know what I mean?
No.
Yeah,
Like,
no. I
so
wanna go to a ghost concert, but what I really wanna do is go to the Haunted Tavern in San Francisco, and I need someone to go with me. So I will be taking applications.
Yeah,
I
that'd
mean,
be awesome.
It's
I
a
think it would be
haunted bar
well,
tour. Like it's haunted, and then they serve you drinks through the tour of this tavern. And I
Oh,
want to go, but I do not want to go alone because I'm a big scaredy cat to just go be in somewhere by myself right now.
I
So
would have to kidnap Will. That would be
yeah,
fun.
right. Let's
yeah, I
go.
was around San Francisco this past April.
Yeah, I'm
Yeah.
there like almost every week. It's just whatever. Anyway, I had a question and I totally forgot. Oh well.
I hate when I do that. Let's face it. So like,
Mm.
yeah, and I just like honestly, I'm so
Oh, I
appreciative.
remember.
Thank
I
you for-
remember.
Okay.
So, Will,
Yes.
during your time as law enforcement, what is the craziest or closest to the paranormal that you've seen
Oh,
in your time as a law enforcement agent?
Paranormal. Oh man, I wish I would have seen
Something
something.
close-ish to it at the very least, you know.
Gosh. Unfortunately, I have not experienced anything remotely close to paranormal in my law enforcement career. Unfortunately, because I'd love it. Now I will say one night, and this was I debunked what this was, but I'll just tell a quick story. It was it came a good rain. I was on patrol, and we go through the city cemetery and everything, checking on everything. And while I was there, I have to walk to another room. Hold on one second. They're making noise in here. And while I was there, I had my windows rolled down on my patrol car, and I could hear this faint noise in the background, this music that was slowed down. It sounded like children's music, but really slow. And I was
I
like,
would have
what
hightailed it out of there.
hell is this? Well, I don't know what's wrong with me because I had to investigate.
Of
I'm
course.
the same
There
way.
was a
I'm
crime.
I
done.
say that I totally would have, but
Yeah,
So-
we'd walk right into it. Like, what is it?
So I get out of the car, I get my flashlight, and I'm scanning. It's a pretty big size cemetery, and I find what it is. Somebody put a stuffed animal that plays music on a grave, and the rain actually short circuited it, and it was started to play music,
oh shit,
and that's all it was.
that was it.
Yeah.
I can
Okay,
see
so-
how some people would run screaming from that.
I mean, that
Right.
would, but look, I have one. Okay. So I know where, I'm not going to say where you used to work. Okay.
Yeah.
But you're going to know where I'm talking about because you were there for so long. Did you
Yeah.
ever have any crazy experiences in Casket Hollow?
No, nothing at all.
I know that like that is one of the hot spots that everybody talks about in that area.
Where? Tell us where.
Yeah.
Tell us where. What is that? You can't. just
That's
say
going to
it.
be in Simpson County.
Yeah.
So
And like,
Mississippi,
so
okay.
it's supposed to be like super. I've been out there and I never had anything crazy happen. I
And they
never.
cut all the trees down there and everything else, and it's just kind of it doesn't even have the same look to it at all.
Yeah, it used to. I remember back in the day when it had like it was the trees and you would like go through and like it was the place to go to try to like get some paranormal shit to happen, you know.
Oh, okay.
Right.
But I was always wondering because you were there in that department for so long. I was like, maybe you got to see something out there because I didn't.
No, and I
Mm.
grew up in super South Louisiana along the banks of the Mississippi River, and we had a lot of you think down there they still voodoo still a thing.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
Natural down there.
Oh, we're losing your audio. You're cutting out a little bit.
And are you
There
guys
you
there?
are.
Sorry. Yeah,
So,
sorry.
like,
I'm
you
I'm having to
actually-
move around.
You actually lived over close to the last leper colony, didn't you?
I did. Yeah, the last leprosy in America was in Carville, Louisiana, and I lived across the river in White Castle. So I never visited, but it's the building is still there. I think it's a museum now. I'm
Really?
pretty sure. Yeah.
I was wondering. I always wondered how, like, because I like, I don't know. You've told, like, you got the greatest stories. He's got to write a book one day. It's gonna happen.
I
I'm
plan on it.
I'm
Yeah.
requesting it.
Yeah,
Mm.
once I get a few more Monsters of Rocks experiences under my belt, I'll probably do something.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, no, for sure.
Absolutely. And look, this guy's
Yeah.
living like the craziest. I mean, he gets to do, you're doing Monsters Rock, you do Monsters on the Mountain, you do, I mean, it's crazy. Like, this guy is absolutely, look, whenever I grow up, I want to be him. When I
Right.
grow up.
I have
But-
gotten to do, and the craziest has been able to do bodyguard work for Linnea Quigley, who was my favorite Scream queen
Yes.
since I was a little kid.
Oh wow, that's kind of cool.
Yeah, that's amazing. Like, that's who was texting me a while ago. I kept seeing her messages popped up. I was like, well, when I get off of this, I'll text her back. But actually, I'm getting a radio now, so I'm probably gonna have to break loose. If y'all
Okay.
ever want to do this again, let me know.
Yes,
we will
just
plan
say-
it, and
We're
well,
gonna,
lots more
you know what?
questions.
Let's plan to do a few more throughout October for some fun Halloween
Okay.
stuff.
But Will,
Just
thank
hit me
you
up.
so much for coming on. Thank you.
Yeah, no
Thank you,
problem. Thanks for the
sweetheart.
invite, and y'all have a great night.
You
Mwah.
too.
Bye, babe.
Bye.
Bye. Have a happy Friday the 13th too.
Of
All
course.
right, you too.
I will here in a
All
little
right,
while
bye.
for sure.
All right.
Oh well, yeah, he's gone.
Yeah. That was good.
But you will.
Awesome.
I
My
need
bad.
to go, like, eat or something before I do turn into like this maniac killer
You turn
that
into a
bites
pumpkin.
people. Huh?
Before you turn into a pumpkin,
No, I'm gonna turn into like a maniac.
you're
killer
gonna turn into
biting
Jason.
people.
You're gonna be like Jasonette.
But I'm not gonna use the knife. I'm just gonna eat them with my mouth because
Then you would be the fucking Donner Party.
That's fine. Well, you know what? You can name me all the names. I'm still telling you, I'm angry. I'm angry.
All right, look, I will tell you guys, this was fun. This was great. Huge shout out to William Douglas for coming on and like entertaining
Yes,
us
Thank you.
for our fun. And we're gonna do some more stuff with him throughout October for sure because he is the Halloween guy to
Yes.
have. And hopefully we're gonna catch him. He'll be able to come on camera
And
next
law
time.
enforcement experience helps with some of our fun cases and
Yeah.
whatnot. So,
So
all right.
I told you we were going to do something fun for Friday the 13th. I hope everybody enjoyed it. Thank you for tuning in to another episode here at Cocktails and Crimes. Please go check out my lovely co-host Ann over on Unexplained Realms and Lost Common
Lost
Sense
Sense that
And I will be
Nikki's been
there
joining.
with her Sunday on Lost
Mhm.
Common Sense. So come tune in with us. Get your merch. Our website will be launching here soon. GoDaddy sucks, so we're
Nah,
in
right.
the works with other things. But, no, seriously, thank you guys, everybody that's tuned in. I really appreciate it. And thanks for all the love and support. Happy Friday the 13th. I hope it turns out wonderful and nobody gets slashed.
Or bitten by me because I'm hungry. Like I'm hangry at
Don't
this
go
point. I
biting
gotta
people.
go.
You're going to be on the show. Don't go biting people. You'll be an episode on the show.
Right. You'll do me justice.
I will.
All right,
I
love you.
promise.
All right, bye,
Love you
everybody.
guys.
Bye.